Can you get him up? You sure?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brian Hartman coming to you live from Ferris Plaza at 1859 Southeast Port St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie, Florida. We are here at Pharus Global headquarters and excited today to have our Live at 5 episode number 35. Today we are featuring Karrie Klimas. She's a creative director at Great Partnership Solutions. And in today's episode, Karrie presents Mastering the Art of Networking for Business and Personal Life. At Pharus Global, we are an outsourced business managed services firm helping businesses and real estate investors grow and eventually maximize their value to reach a successful exit if they choose to exit. We do everything from financial management and bookkeeping, marketing. We have HR services, management training, payroll, PEO. We do commercial residential mortgages. We do commercial and residential real estate. We even do personal and commercial lines of insurance, full service IT, and we have medical practice management, billing, and coding. For more information about us, please take a look at pharusglobal.com. And without further ado, we are excited to introduce to everybody today Miss Karrie Klimas.
Hello, hello.
Oh, welcome to the show, Karrie. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. We are excited. I know I'm excited because mastering the art of networking, I've always been told people have a natural knack for networking or they just don't, and it's hard to be able to teach them if they don't have that knack. So it's going to be fun to learn a little bit more about what you have going on today. So why don't we start off by tell us a little bit about Great Partnership Solutions and how that all came into existence.
Well, thank you for asking. Great Partnership Solutions came into part to play because I've done 10 years of networking and over 10 years of my own personal growth with my own self-mastery. So my own personal experience of where I used to play invisible and, not knowing how to speak up and lack of confidence. And if I spoke up, I was afraid to be embarrassed or feel stupid. And I'm sure many people can relate. But through my personal transformation, built my confidence and being organized, following through, following up, enjoying the process, enjoying connecting, enjoying getting stuff done, going out, having a balanced life. And I'm an initiator. I take action. I'll call people, reach out to people personally, professionally, and don't really have much judgment. And I just enjoy with a great attitude. So Great Partnership Solutions was created about a month ago after being a life mastery coach for about 2 years and co-leading a communications workshop called Great People Skills, also GPS. And so I said, one day I said, well, after we kind of stepped away from the coaching and the workshop, but I said I wanted to create my own business, and any information up here is not really good keeping it in here. So I decided to write down all the networking groups that I've been part of, whether virtual or online or networking apps, and decided to make an awesome list and the benefits of being able to be more organized and time management and following up and having those professional skills that I have and want to support other people and being able to have that ideal outcome. And so being their guide or their GPS agent to get them from point A to point Z to, go into looking at something like what you want to get out of something and walking out feeling empowered and getting the projects done, because some people are just stuck or overwhelmed or frustrated and wish I had somebody else they could talk to and just give, my best interest to see them follow through and get the payoff in a shorter time frame. So yeah.
It's interesting because it definitely seems like you flipped the script on being shy and not want to talk to people for sure. So great job there. And you do a very good job of speaking as well. Not very many ums and ahs in there, which is awesome. So good for you on that part. I love the name of the company, GPS. Great Partnership Solutions. Very cool. Before we continue on, let me just let everyone know, whoever is watching live out there, if you have a question for Karrie or myself, or just want to pop in and say hi, whether you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, drop it in the comments. Punch that bell on YouTube so you get future updates of when other shows will be coming on. I see Christina Miller reacted to the video. Thank you for watching us, Christina. That's my girlfriend. I just wanted to say hi. And, what we're happy to answer whatever questions that you have in the order that they come in. So let's jump right into it, Karrie. I think we covered learn more about how you got your business started. So how did you get started in networking? There's so many different things out there and so many different ways to be able to get exposure for business. I think networking is great, but how'd you get started?
Well, I'll be honest and truthful about that. But like, well, my parents and my grandparents had great people skills, and they actually, being a little a child, seeing my grandparents go out and visit people and take us around with them, and so compared to my dad's parents who didn't have such great people skills and stayed more indoors, compared to my mom's parents who got outside and did things and got into fun activities, and they brought us along. So I already had I already grew up with it in a sort of sense, but the confidence is where I didn't get from my parents, and afraid of authority. But when I got out of the corporate world in '09, the corporate world let me go, and I had a business with a company called Party Light, which is a direct sales network marketing company, and I'd been 5 years into the business. So when the corporate world let me go on Monday of '09, by December 31st, I went to a networking event, and he said, well, I got to get out there and start, meeting more people. So I went to a networking event, and this gentleman I met says, you can't just be a candle lady, because that's what I was selling candles at the time, and, doing home-based parties and stuff. I said, well, I don't know what you mean, but he says, well, you might want to consider branding yourself. I said, I don't know what that means, but grateful for my open mind and attitude. And my first business was called Gift Problem Solver, but, really going out there and, networking again for my business would have been on December 31st of 2009. And always been natural for me, just, talking to people and getting out there. But there's some people I just felt afraid of talking to people. Some people I put more of, I couldn't relate to them, or feeling more authoritative over me. So, but not anymore.
No more fears.
No, not anymore. We're all equal, which is great.
I love you mentioned the name of that business was Gifted Problem
Gift
Solver,
problem
GPS
solver.
again, right?
That's for my first. Yep, for my first. People knew me as a GPS lady, so I figured that'd be sense to keep the same 3 letters once again.
So you're pointing people in the right direction. So that's GPS. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but Pharus is the Latin is a Latin phrase for lighthouse or a point of light. So pointing people in the right direction. And that's how we came up with our name. So it's interesting. Similar concept, which is pretty cool. So very, very cool. So you actually turn things around and embrace networking, and that's helped you grow your business and get to know a lot of people out there. And you said how long have you been doing networking for now?
I'd say about 10 years. I would say, actually, I think we all been networking since our parents put us on the playground and told us to start playing with kids.
Right.
And people say, don't talk to strangers, but you've been playing with strangers since you were a child.
Yeah. That was before we became biased, right? That was the innocence of networking back then, right?
Right. That's before we start having judgments and filters, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I was always told that there's somebody within 3 feet of you that you can be talking to and getting to know, and might turn into something. Could be personal, could be business, just like the subject that you put together tonight, right?
Well, we need each other, and we need each other. But if we're not opening our mouths and saying hello genuinely and asking hello, how are you, more about them, less of ourselves, anything is possible. But yeah, having that attitude at anything could be possible by listening and paying attention to one another and asking questions.
That's right. That's right. Carol McClendon, just love the subject for tonight. We appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by. So why don't we talk a little bit about what you like best about networking? What is it about networking that intrigues you?
Well, we can love people and we can hate people. I mean, obviously that's duality goes. But at the end of the day, I do appreciate people and who they are, and especially for those who are willing and ambitious, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't run to that guy Norman at that networking event. I wouldn't. He was that first door that opened for me, and taking that person, listening to what he had to say, and it wasn't even his business. So helping me create a new business, an idea, and following people at different networking events to find out where they're networking at. But you know, that's I like finding new things and new opportunities. But if I don't network, I will never know what the next thing out there, because people are creating things all the time, and we never know when the next thing's. What it's not. We don't know when we're needed now, but because of that relationship we created and we trusting it's a good one, you'll have the more top of mind to refer, do business with, or hang out with. And when we're ready for it, oh yeah, that's right, that person, said those things, whether it's business related or personal related. So yeah.
So, we talked about it briefly before we started the show, but there's a ton of people out there that don't like to get out from behind a computer, and they really don't like networking, or really don't have the art of networking down. But what about networking do you think stops people?
Well, their own personal, lack of getting out of the box, afraid of what people are going to say. Let's just say most people are judging themselves poorly already. So we're just with the rest of everybody else. But we make up a big story about afraid of whether people might say, and that fear of rejection and not being heard, and just who wants to do business with me anyway. So we just start cutting ourselves down. We're like, we're excited to go out and just to start making excuses not to do it. So we get on our own way and sabotage ourselves, and rather being curious. And when I went out to the first networking event in September of last year, when this group that I go to quite often, started having its first outdoors. I'm like, I was curious. I wanted to get out and see who is outside. I've been indoors for so many months, so I
Mhm.
didn't let the fear get in the way. I let curiosity rule, and so and then if I didn't go, I wouldn't know what to expect. But always having that open mind and open attitude, that otherwise people have the opposite.
It's awesome. Shout out to Angelo Vecchiarelli. He is the DJ hostess with the mostest. He loves to be on the radio and does networking through radio shows. It's actually pretty cool. So he liked the show. Angelo, thank you for stopping by. Um, no, I think what's interesting is especially the people that you see when you go to networking events that might be the wallflowers. Instead of actually talking to people, they just kind of stand there on the sidelines, and never thought that it made sense. Why even bother going if you're not going to talk to people? And
They're
I think
trying
it
to
goes
feel the
back.
room out. They want to feel it out, just like at the dance floor. Feel it out. At least they showed up.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe one day they'll actually break out of their shell. But the we something else that we talked about is building a list of business cards is not going to get you business, right? You have to actually reach out and get to know
Follow up.
folks. Yeah,
Invite people for coffee and Zoom calls. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. A lot of Zoom calls, but I think we're starting to get back out into the real deal again, and actually seeing people, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
been doing more so in less. Even this week and last week, I think have definitely been more face to face coffees I've had in a while, but which is nice. For those who are comfortable and want to do that. But even Zoom calls or phone calls are still important for those, doing something is better than nothing. But going back to your wallflower, I'll be one of those that actually would go up to people if they were the wallflower,
that's
make them
right.
feel
Shake their
comfortable,
hand.
pull
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
them off the wall. Come on,
And
let's go.
I think the nice part now, and you talked about it, is you can do the face-to-face meetings with people local, but now everybody's kind of used to Zoom, so now you could actually take your business national much faster than you would have in the past, right?
Yeah, well, since when COVID hit, I was, of course, like many of us, we were doing some indoor. So it's interesting when I hear people say they haven't been on Zoom. I'm like, where have you been? Where have you been all this time, and what kept you busy? I wanted to meet people, so I've been, doing a lot of virtual groups. There's one called Happy Neighborhood Project. I've been attending for a while and refer quite often. They do 77 virtual events a week, and Tuesdays through Fridays on the hour, complimentary. And there's a South Florida, Central Florida, North Florida, West Florida, but there's all over the United States, all over the country. And so, you never know who you're going to meet. But that's the point, is being able to show up. It's always the first step, follow through. And just like if you played sports, and the more you go, the more you practice, like getting on the dance floor, the more you pull yourself off the wall.
Yep.
And get out there. And, people ask, people might come up to you, especially the genuine ones, the sincere ones. So,
Yeah, it's always nice if you are one of those shy folks that somebody actually comes over and says hello to you and introduces themselves, and like you said, pull them off the wall. And I think it's like
been
anything
there.
else, right? People might be afraid of a roller coaster until they finally get the nerve up to do it, and then they want to do it 15 times after that, right?
Well, most people are judging before they actually experience. So their judgment gets in the way, whether somebody else told them about it or their own story they made up gets in the way of them actually going, oh, I actually experienced, and I actually just made a whole big story about it. I
Yeah,
lied to myself.
absolutely, absolutely.
How crazy we can be.
Um, we have another Brett Friedenberg just stopped by and liked the show. Thanks for watching with us. We appreciate it. Brett and I actually have been in a number of networking groups, and we go back probably over 30 years now. So
Wow.
appreciate you stopping by. Again, as a reminder, if you have any questions or just want to pop in and say hello, that is okay. We're happy to answer whatever questions in chat. Um, so tell us a little bit about, we touched on one area, but what resources do you use for networking?
Well, I mean, you can always Google networking events in my area. That's what somebody told me about a few weeks ago. I'm like, what's a brilliant idea? And I keep that tab open.
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
you know, what else? Eventbrite, Meetup. I mean, having conversations with people, asking people what they do, what their form of networking is. I mean, there's, Facebook networking groups. There's an app called Shaper. There's Bumble. Most people might think Bumble's for dating, but I've got met a lot of great people. Bumble's got dating, best friend, and business. And so in 4 years, I've been using Bumble and I've been using Shaper. They're almost like, it's like Tinder for business, because you're swiping, yes, you want to meet them, or no, you don't. And so I take the initiative and ask questions and get to want to know each other, and you never know what might happen. So a business, I really enjoy both apps, and both are free, but you can also pay a membership to get, additional services. Alignable, Happy Neighborhood Project, Blitzer does speed networking events
Oh,
online. These different groups put their group on there, and Blitzer programs it all and gives you 5 minutes. You can pick the people. They even got their own CRM. You can message people afterwards. So it's pretty cool.
And there's another one that I was introduced to during right at the onset of the pandemic last year, and it's Lunch Club.
That's how we met.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that is a fantastic site. It's free. I still have yet to figure it out how they're actually staying in existence, but I think they have some ideas of what they're going to be doing going forward. But for anybody that's out there, if you'd like more information, it's fantastic because you get to put a profile together and talk about the type of people that you're looking for, whether it's business growth or development or whatever, grow your team. You could actually set it to location of the people you want to meet, where you want to meet them. So it's just an awesome site itself as well. So those are all great sites that you mentioned there. I've tried Alignable in the past. Haven't heard of the other one, so it's interesting to take a look. Evite. A lot of people are using that now, so that's a good one as well. And Meetup, Eventbrite, yeah. Thank you. And Meetup has been around for a while, and that's got quite a few people on there, so that's doing pretty well.
Well, if anybody wants to get in these apps, and I'll just throw myself out there, because sometimes we don't know what profile to put ourselves, what pictures to use, what to even say in our profile, or what to even say to people as a next step comment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things I support people in, is being able to have that guidance. So if you want to use it, have more clarity in what pictures to use and what to say and how to use it deliberately and effectively. I mean, why put yourself out there without, I swipe every day. I
Right.
never know who I'm going to meet and what message I want to say. And my encouragement to, support people to say, here's my calendar. I love meeting people and let's leverage our networking time and, click a day on my calendar and let's schedule something. Because I know everybody would love to have more time in their calendar. I'm sure of it. So, the best is just instead of going back and forth messaging, we know how long time consuming messaging can be. So
Right. That's very true.
direct and to the point. So yeah,
Yeah, no, that's good information too, because it is. It could be
easy to give up.
distracting. It,
Right.
it could be time consuming to put all of that together, but it's good that you can help people get focused on what they need.
Yep. Yep.
That's awesome. So, with all these different sites and everything now for networking and everything, how often do you network? And what do you think is there an actual normal amount of time, or what do you recommend?
Well, I mean, everybody has to look at their calendar, what their life, entails. I mean, I'm a single woman, so I don't have any husband or kids to, babysit and take care of, manage my time effectively that way.
Hmm.
Um, I usually attend 3 networking events at night in the evening during the week. If I can have, 2 to 4, Zoom calls a week would be great. If I have some virtual time in between to jump on a 1 or 2 virtual networking events during the week, that's great. Again, everybody's going to have their own, time frame. But a couple I met today, they both really weren't using anything virtual. They really didn't think about it or hear about it. But they got kids, young kids, who for them to get outside networking is really not going to work for them.
Mm.
So now I'm able to find them, some networking groups that they can attend to and support them and getting the best results from this one group, because starting with one is a good place to start before jumping onto many of their different platforms. But give them one that I'm comfortable with and use. And at the end of the day, it's not really about the platform. It's about you and you taking responsibility for your action steps and the attitude you have. Somebody out there is grateful enough to put an event together or have a platform that you can actually meet a human being on the other side.
Imagine that. Actually meet somebody. Wow, what a
Right. So
concept.
there's always a human on there. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the platform itself. I'm the operator and I'm the one who's got to communicate effectively to people. And, I just look at it like toss a net out there. I'm going to message 10, 20, like picking up the phone and following up. If I went to a networking event, I'm going to follow up the next day and I'm going to call or text 5 to 10 people. Out of that, 2 or 3 people will respond and I got 2 appointments. I mean, so far today, I've scheduled 2. So I got my 2 that I want, but being able to, put that out there, spend that quality time deliberately on that one area, whether it's follow up or the app, toss it out there. And some will, some won't, some to the 2 today, 2 tomorrow, 5 next week. But, being able to also, follow up as well.
That's
Because one
awesome.
time doesn't always get everybody.
No, that's great. That's good information. It's always important to start somewhere. We had a question that came in. We kind of touched on it. John Silva asked, "What of all the websites that you mentioned for networking, which do you think are the top 3?"
My industry and what I do is everybody's going to have their own personal opinion about it. I can only tell you what I've been and what I partaked in. So, I mean, did he say like virtual events? Is that what he's saying?
I
Is
think
that
it's
what
just in general where you could find networking events or actually be able to network.
Well, I mean, Google networking events in your area. I mean, everybody's going to have a different experience from everything. There's human beings in all of them. So, first and foremost, put in your calendar, attend, show up, go a few times. If you enjoy the people that lead it, because it's always usually about the leader. The leaders, I mean, even for me personally, before COVID, I attended 2 face-to-face events and a couple of men led it. But when I attended over and over again, neither of the men invited to have a one-on-one with me. So if you're like a father, if you know the father role would make sure everybody feels comfortable in their own home. They would lead the way. Well, if they don't actually know who I am and actually get to know who I am, I really don't feel appreciated and respected. So I don't go back. So leadership is key. So
Mm.
wherever you're going, if the leader is respectful of you and wants to know you so they can better understand you, I mean, then I trust you're in the right place. You got to feel really the goal is to feel everything out, what feels right for you, what the payoff is, what you're going to get from it. And, keep going. You can take a 3-month hiatus and go back. You never know. I mean, That's everything. Less negative attitude, more open opportunity attitude, and see what all possible facilities are there.
That's
So,
true. Very cool. So, um, what would you say are the best tips for networking for anybody that's out there? I have one that I can mention of my own experience is when you're going to a networking event, set yourself a goal beforehand of how many people you want to meet. Like if it's an event with 25 or 30 people, maybe you want to meet at least one or two. If there's 50 people, maybe you want to meet at least five to seven. But have a goal in mind, have the conversation, and like you said, actually put down maybe on their business cards a little reminder of what you talked about at the event. So that's one I've always tried to live by.
cool. Well, I will add on to what you shared. So, my intention to every event I go on, I meet a minimum of two ideal people that we want to have a follow up. Everything else is a bonus. So, it could be 10 cards because I don't know who is going to show up. I don't know how many. So, I let go of how many people show up, but I trust myself that I'm connecting with quality people. You can even overview who you really want. You can feel the room out. Who do you feel drawn to? Who you want to connect with? But yes, always online and offline, I have a goal of always at least having two or more ideal people that I've connected with and want to have a follow up with as well. And of course, everybody else is a bonus because you never know what that might turn into as well. But yeah, take a Sharpie with you if you go into a face to face. I take an extra pen and paper just in case people don't have a business card with them. Yes, they could text you the picture. Make sure you remember that they texted to you. Make sure to follow up. Um, I mean, you might. I start with a form of texting people and letting them know, great to meet you at the last night's event, at Networking Beast or whatever it was, at the location, so they can remind them, you know, um, enjoy the conversation. How would you like to meet for coffee next week or week after to, learn more about each other, our businesses, and add value for each other? And, when are you available? Now, if I text 10 people, how many people do you think might respond? Two or more. And then if they don't respond 2 days later, a week later, I pick up the phone and call. If I make a note on that notebook, what I did, what form of communication I did to follow up with them. And even tonight, when we finish, I will follow up the people for my day tomorrow to make sure we're still confirmed for tomorrow, what that looks like too. My world is, I value my time, I respect my time, and I respect others as well. And so I treat it as that.
Very cool.
So yeah.
So we have Pete Previtt dropped by. Pete, thanks for watching the show. He says, if you're comfortable walking up to someone and introducing yourself, it's easy to network and meet new people. Totally agree. And then he has a follow-up to that. What advice can you give those who might not be comfortable introducing themselves?
What would you say, Brian? What would you say to somebody who's not comfortable introducing themselves?
Just gotta get out of your shell and just
do it. Do it like Nike says.
Yep.
Or call Karrie. I'll be happy to support you and you're building your self confidence to get you out there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I go back to that roller coaster ride, right? You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. And then when you finally take the leap of faith, then you want to do it 15 more times. So if you get out and just do it one time and introduce yourself to somebody, there's no right, wrong, or indifferent. And you're only meeting that one particular person. If you mess up, it's not the end of the world. Just do it again after that a little bit better.
Well, I'll say this, everything we learn is from contrast. So talk to yourself. If you don't go, how are you going to feel? Now, if you do go, how are you going to feel? So which one would you prefer to be feeling when if you sat home and didn't go for 2 hours of networking, but if you did go, how would you feel about going and how would you go? I'm so proud of myself. I walked in the door. My God, I didn't expect anything, but I'm so glad I walked in. But that's what people, it's like, when you walk into a restaurant, do you know what you're going to order? To some degree, no, but you walked in the door. Right. Keep going. So take the steps. Every step forward is a step further than you weren't before. So, and we know how we're going to beat ourselves up if we don't do it. So, you know how that feels. So, you want to say, I don't want to do it that anymore. Let me go in and just be like Nike and do it and see what happens. I mean, that's growth. Anything outside of your comfort zone is growth, and more proud of yourself for every step because you never know who you might meet, and that person there could be the next person for your business or a good friend to hang out with, or the person's going to help you build your self-confidence. Who knows?
That's very true. So we got Louis DiRamondo drop by, and he's networking right here. He just gave
All
us his
right.
website, allhotdogcarts.com. Louis is the hot dog king, or the
All
hot dog
right. Love me
cart.
some hot dogs.
Yeah, he knows how to make those hot dog carts. So everybody drop in and see him. Thanks for dropping by, Louis. Um, and one other thing that I would throw out there that I've done over the years is find a common ground and 5 people that are interested in that common ground, and maybe start up your own networking group. And and that way you're comfortable with those 5 people initially, and build it out from there. So if you're not comfortable networking, that's an easy way to basically start your own and hopefully feel comfortable from the get-go.
Well, another idea I'll share with you is I went to a networking event down here in Boca, and I was going to do something else. I'm like, no, I feel like going to this event. Never been, called Business Done Better. Met the woman. She's the founder, creator. We had a call after, and she's like, Karrie, I would love for you to be a president of my, one of our chapters. I'm like, thank you, but I appreciate that, but I really don't know your group well enough to take that full responsibility. But I'd be happy to, play part in one of the chapters. And so one of the people from the president from the Fort Lauderdale chapter called me, and so now I'm part of the team. So taking full responsibility, I'd say always talk to the people at the front desk, talk to the people there, because even a group called Networking Beast, I told a client, I said, this group not only meets face to face, but they do 2 virtual groups a week. So go up front, go talk to them. They are the ones. They know any person that's a leader running a group, they know. So always talk to the people that run something, because then you can tell they would know more than just what they do, and other people you might want to connect with.
That's a
So,
great tip. I like it.
mhm.
Well, for everybody that is interested in reaching out to Karrie for any help at all with the networking opportunities, GPS is the name, Great Partnership Solutions. You can see her contact information. It's Karrie Klimas, karriegps@gmail.com. Phone number is 954-629-4945. Karrie, is there anything after all we've talked about tonight that we may have missed that you wanted to go over?
Mm, No, I just say, once you network, just make sure, you take those steps and getting yourself organized, and take deliberate action steps to follow up and ask people to meet for coffee or Zoom. Don't blast them with any emails. Don't blast them with more information. Really have the opportunity to really want to get to know people and take the time, because most people who say no to not wanting to meet you are already missing out on all opportunities to be the person that, that takes the time to step forward, because that's already a step toward more possibilities. Those that don't do it, you don't know anything else about them except a card that's sitting on your table. So
Sure.
be that person and, connect, because again, we don't know where any of the possibilities will lead us to.
Awesome.
Follow
Great
up, follow
information.
up, follow up, and
For
follow
sure.
through.
And thank you, Karrie. And for those of you that would like to be a guest on the show, we do this every Tuesday night live at 5. This was episode number 35. And just reach out to me. My contact information is at pharusglobal.com, and let me know that you'd like to get exposure for your business, and let people make awareness, create awareness, let people know, educate them to what you do and how you could help them. We're happy to have you on the show. So, Karrie, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate that. And
Thank you.
hopefully, folks will be reaching out to you. And thank you, everybody out there. Pizza is very informative. Thank you. And Pete, thank you for watching the show. We
Thank you,
definitely
everybody, who
appreciate that.
participated and joined us. Thank you.
And everybody, have a great night. Karrie, thank you again. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Brian.